Jody Terhaar, and I'm the Dean of Students here at the College of Saint Benedict. I've worked at Saint Ben's for 15 years going on 16, and I truly, truly love the job that I have. As unpredictable as it can be and as out of my own control as it can be, it's really one of the best jobs that I have ever had. I got into student affairs somewhat unexpectedly, which is probably similar to a lot of people's stories. I went to college initially thinking I was going to be a pre-med major, and then realized I hated chemistry and thought that probably wasn't a good idea, and then decided that I was going to be an education major because I wanted to teach algebra, because so many people hate math. But while I was at college, at the College of St. Catherine, I became an RA, and my second year I was an apartment advisor, that's what they called them there, and realized that I was enjoying that experience not more than being an education major, but equally. And I had never realized that this might be an opportunity. So I had great people who I worked with at St. Kate's who opened kind of the doors up to say, have you ever thought about doing what it is that we do? Have you ever thought about working in higher education? Have you ever thought about going to graduate school? And I honestly really hadn't, and even as they were having those conversations, was still pretty convinced that I was really being called to be a teacher. And that was something that I really thought I had wanted to do. In the meantime, a friend of mine had gone off to Bowling Green State University to pursue her higher education degree, and I went out to visit her the summer after I had finished college. And being out there with her and hearing what her experience was, realized that that was really what I was supposed to be doing. And that's really where I was getting excited. So I came back from a trip to Ohio visiting a friend, and came back, enrolled in graduate school and having an internship to go along with that graduate school. Came home, packed up, and moved to Ohio for 2 years. So I completed my master's degree in college student personnel at Bowling Green State University. And that's how I ended up here, eventually, many, many years later, doing what I do for the College of Saint Benedict. All right, so a typical day in the life of a dean of students really isn't, I don't know that there's anything typical about a day. In general, my job is to be here to serve as an advocate for students. And that can take on various serious tones if we have an incident or a situation that has occurred where a student needs pretty immediate or assistance to resolve a situation, or some kind of crisis has occurred. It can also mean that I answer a call and help people figure out what the number 2 city hall is, or help make arrangements for voting that's coming up, or attend a program that a student is putting on, or other things that might come up that are more ordinary. In terms of the general areas of my job that I'm responsible for, I work with the Residential Life Program, I work with the Student Activities and Leadership Development Program. I'm responsible for student conduct and student life policies. That's an ongoing task to make sure that we're staying current and in compliance with both college and federal legislation. I work with the City of St. Joseph on a number of issues, some of them related to student behavior, but other things that are just fun to be part of because the college is such an important part of this community and we want to have a good partnership with them. I serve as the point of contact for parents, which always has interesting but very rewarding parts of it. These are parents who care deeply about the children that they've sent here. They are their daughters. They want to make sure that they're doing well here, and oftentimes just need assistance navigating the place where they aren't, and wanting to make sure that their daughters are being successful in the way that they had hoped that they would be. There are many, many, many unexpected things that come up. Sometimes my day is just driven by who happens to be on the other end of the phone when the phone is ringing that day, or by a particular email that I might receive, or an incident that occurs that really consumes a huge part of many, many days, which means other things kind of have to get set aside. But that's just the nature of working with students and working in student affairs. What I enjoy most about my job, or what brings me the greatest joy as I do my job every day, is having the chance to interact with students, helping people solve problems and helping them realize that they have the ability to do that. Students, by the time they reach the Dean of Students office, either have found themselves here by accident and it's easy to solve, or they come here because things really have reached the point that they need some higher level assistance from people. But part of what I like to do is to help students realize that they do have the ability to figure things out on their own, maybe with a little bit of support or a little bit of nudging, but to help them realize that they have the power and the capability to be the decision maker and to be the problem solver in their own life. I really enjoy working with the St. Ben's Student Senate. They're an amazing group of women with just really unique and amazing leadership skills and a commitment to this college that's really going to serve them well and serves the institution and serves our students very well. I get to work with the Intercultural Lead Program, which is a program we have for first-generation students, primarily from the Twin Cities area, that have been part of their success as they navigate St. Ben's and St. John's. Other kinds of things that I love is just the daily opportunity to be part of an experience. Being at a college, I think, has got to be one of the greatest work environments to be in. You're hearing new things, you're learning new things. There's not a moment that I can say is ever boring. Even on slow days, there's just not boredom that is part of this job. And there is a degree of unpredictability that I enjoy and I find exciting as part of just the day-to-day work that I get to do. There are bright spots that happen. We just recently completed Centennial Commons, a new student housing complex, and had the dedication last week. And just having something like that come to completion and have it represent not just something that was important to residential life and to our students, but really to the overall college community and to the monastic community as well. Having that relationship with the monastery and with individual sisters really is probably one of the very best parts of my job. Even if it's not part of my job on a daily basis, the fact that I get to have those kind of relationships and those kind of connections with the monastic community here at St. Ben's is something that is truly unique and something that I really deeply, deeply value. All right, so if for a person who was maybe thinking that higher education was something they wanted to do, or perhaps even being a dean of students was something they wanted to do, there are certainly things that people should be thinking about and preparing for. This isn't a job that anybody would want to step into immediately upon college graduation. It really is important, I think, that people take time to get experience and to get appropriate education so that they really are prepared for the multitude of responsibilities that come with both entry-level jobs like residence director positions, but also come with the higher level positions like a dean or VP position. Having both experience and education is incredibly important. I think the other thing that people need to be thinking about is who can their mentors be from their undergraduate experience? How do they make good connections with their professors in graduate school? How do they navigate a new professional network at the first job that they may have? How do they start developing mentor relationships? And then how do you nurture those relationships so that even as you move from position to position or from institution to institution, you're building a network of people who can continue to guide you and can continue to advise you and mentor you as you develop as your own professional. I do think that considering and pursuing a master's degree and hopefully eventually for most people a PhD is something that needs to be on the radar screen. You can't just go from having a great undergraduate experience as an RA and expect to have a long-term career in higher education. In the world of higher education, having a degree and having the education that backs up the work that you do really is very, very important. I think it's also important to be ready to be fleet of foot. You may not have lifelong opportunities at a single institution. You may have to move around. And I would advise people to get a number of different experiences. I went to a small undergraduate women's college. I'm now at a small undergraduate women's college later in my career. But in between those things, I worked at large public institutions, small public institutions, attended graduate school at a larger public institution. And each one of those experiences helped me define more clearly the kind of work that I wanted to do and the kind of environment that I wanted to do it in. And each one of those experiences was valuable in its own way because it helped me realize more clearly what direction and what kind of institution was going to ultimately be the best fit for me. But finding mentors, pursuing education with vigor, and being ready to have a wide variety of experiences as you're working toward your ultimate goal and being patient with that process is a very, very important part of becoming a higher ed professional. I'm Jody Terhaar, Dean of Students at the College of Saint Benedict. This has been Real Life. I'm in Student Affairs.